So, in this presentation, we'll be talking about the different paths to become a US Air Force pilot. First of all, we will start with ROTC. What is ROTC? Reserve Officers Training Corps. It is a college program based in more than 1100 colleges, and it is a mix between normal and military classes. You will be considered a student officer, and you will finish in around 3 to 5 years. The requirements to enroll this program is to be a full-time student in a prestigious college, complete a paperwork and an one-to-one interview with an officer. Also, you will need to pass a sport physical exam to see if you are physically fit for the program. And also, during high school, you will need a good GPA, and you need to pass the Air Force Officer Qualifying Test, which it is a really long test with more than 300 questions, and it is really important for your career. This method has some pros and cons. The pros it is that it is completely free. The state will pay for your tuition. You will get a really good education, mixing the military classes, for example, leadership or military studies, with your normal classes. You will start a career really early in your life, and that will bring you stability. And you will find some like-minded people with the same goals and aspirations as you. But you will find also some cons. You will get more responsibility than someone in college that is just focusing on having parties and the weekend. If you are just looking for the financial aid, maybe it's not the right idea for you because you will have a big service commitment of 8 years after you graduate. And also you must pay all the money if you got a dropout during your career. The other path that we're going to be talking about is OTS, Official Training School. In this case, you got your degree outside, and in less than 10 weeks in the Montgomery, Alabama, in Maxwell Air Base, you get prepared to become an officer. The requirement is to be between 18 and 39 years, be a United States citizen, got a bachelor's degree, and pass the Air Force Officer Qualifying Test. The pros of this method is that it is a fast method. In less than 10 weeks you are already working, and it is your last chance. If you didn't get to USAFA, if you didn't get to ROTC, still you could be an Air Force officer. But the cons are that you need a high GPA during college. Also, you will need to do some training in your unit because you probably don't get enough experience to get the manager position, and probably could be harder than other job in a entry position level.
As my friend Gaston was saying, I'm going to continue the project about how to become a United States Air Force pilot with the USAFA, which is the last academy that we're going to talk about. And we call it that way, but it's in reality called United States Air Force Academy. It's placed in Colorado Springs in the south of the US, and it's different from the other ones in that the students that enter the academy don't have a bachelor's degree already, so they study their bachelor's degree inside the academy. Uh, it consists on a 4-year plan where at the end of it they come out as second lieutenants, which is more or less the same as alferez here in Spain, and they also have a degree, which is really useful. The requirements are more or less the same as what Gaston said, but I'm going to pass through them. You have to be at least 17, but not past your 13th birthday. You have to be a United States citizen, be unmarried with no dependents, and be of good moral character. This is really important here in order to be an officer, because to have a good moral character means to be a good leader, and this is what they look for in the academy, to have some good leaders. Now I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of the academy. So, the biggest pro, as I see it, is that in the US it's not easy to pay for tuition in the university. It's really costly. It's really expensive. So being that the university pays for your education, that's a really good pro. It's a hard job, but it's rewarding. At the end of the day, you feel fulfilled. And being the classes so small, you have a closer relationship with your teachers, which equals to a better education, as I see it. Uh, and you have a closer relationship with your colleagues as you do a lot of things together, and the security of the university, of the academy, is really good since you are protected by military stuff. And some of the cons here are the limited free time. uh, this is self-explanatory. Being in a military academy cuts a lot of your free time, and having tough competition in order to get to some good places, or some good mm, yeah, places like being on a pilot on a determined aircraft, or coming out and wanting to go to the Space Force. There's going to be a lot of competition with that. So to sum up, this academy differs from the other ones because students come without any bachelor's degree, and they spend more time in a military academy.
So, after the hard process that my mates have really mentioned, in order to become a U.S. Air Force officer, they have to meet the requirements, the medical requirements mainly, and start their pilot training. The pilot training can divide main into two main programs, as we can see here: the IFT, which is the initial flight training, and the UPT, which is the undergraduate pilot training. The IFT is only about 4 to 6 weeks long, and it is just to introduce the pilots to the main features of a plane and the basics of flying. And it is done in the Diamond D820 Katana. Then the undergraduate pilot training can divide into two other courses, which are the INJET, which is the Aeronaut Joint Jet Pilot Training, and the SUPT, which is the Specialized Undergraduate Pilot Training. Starting with the NGPT, well, this is the Diamond TA20 Katana for the IFT, and these are the planes that the Aeronaut Joint Jet Pilot Training uses to teach their students how to fly. The first one is the T6 Texan 2. During the 55-week long course, they start flying this plane to then move on to the 38C, which is a jet plane that is more advanced, and as you can tell by the appearance of it, it is mainly used to train bombers or fighter pilots. Then here we have the specialized undergraduate pilot training, which is more focused on helicopter or airlift and tankers pilots. They also start with the T6 Texan, as we can see here, but then depending on the specialty that they choose after, they can either go with the T1A Jayhawk, which is the one on the right, or with the helicopter, which is the T1 H1H, which is the one on the left. And after that, they will go to their respective bases to train on their actual aircraft. So we here in Spain in the AGA, pilot training is very different from the US, as in the US you have to become an officer before you can start to fly, while here in Spain you fly while you are becoming an officer. Yeah, in third course, the third course students, they already start flying the basic plane, and they continue for 2 more years, while in the USA it's just approximately a 1 year course or 1.5 year course after the 4 year university bachelor's degree. So that would be the main difference between these two academies.